Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dark City Radio. I don't know why I'm there. We're supposed to have an intro that's supposed to start before the show, but it's our Robo Hippie. He's producing us tonight, and he's put us bang on time. None of that Dom stuff like we've had previously, eh? So, right, Misuse of Drugs Act. Thanks to you lot tuning in. I can see you dropping onto the server more as I actually speak. That's really cool. Without the listeners, I'm just a crazy man. Stood on a rock, shouting at myself. So thanks for being there.
You're a crazy man, aren't you, mate?
Well, many say all that. I'm joined by a gentleman. I'll let him explain himself in a minute. I'll just let you know the police around the Manchester area have been carrying out raids again. I haven't got a problem with the police raiding so-called skunk factories where we've got hundreds of plants being grown on multiple levels of houses, where it's obviously being done for a profit. I've got a dog barking there in the background. If you could mute up for me, please, Lewis.
Right,
Lewis.
I'm going to shut you. I'm going to, what do you call it? I'll let you introduce me, right, mate, and then I'll answer any questions for anybody.
Okay, pal. Right, we'll see how it goes.
Right, I'm listening. I'll see how it goes with you, mate.
Okay, up.
Right, I think I've done it. Have I done it, mate?
No, I can still hear you. You've not muted yet. But no worries.
This is what you get when you put computer illiterate.
Hey, you're doing great. You're doing absolutely great, man. You've got managed to
the technology. I hate it.
So, first time the guy's ever been really involved with computers. He's managed to sort Skype out and get on air. So, that's pretty damn good going,
doing me head in.
No worries. I'll crack on.
Stressful than getting nicks.
So what's actually occurred is, and you might have noticed now, we have got one gentleman on the line who was actually, what do you want to call it? Well, nicked, to use his own word today. Medical use, right, and the Misuse of Drugs Act. Now, medical use, or what's known as medical necessity, was fought in court in London on more than one occasion by a solicitor called Richard Perry. You can find Richard Perry online. It's not difficult to find. I'm just trying to think what company he's with. But he's down in London, Richard Perry. Good guy. Absolute good guy. A white hat, I suppose, in one sense. Although he's a solicitor and many of us are like, defend yourself. This guy took and used as a defence medical necessity. What is a medical necessity? Right. How it's explained, a necessity within law is there's a man drowning in the middle of a lake. It's the early hours of the morning. You turn up there, all you see is a man drowning in a lake. There's nobody else. There's only you. There's a boat there, a little motorboat, and the keys are in it. You jump in it, you start it up, you take out the boat, you rescue the man, you bring the man back to shore. As you arrive back to shore, there's somebody else has already seen it. Somebody else saw the man drowning and they rang an ambulance. You see an ambulance arriving with the police behind it. You're thinking, great stuff. You pull up at the shoreline, you tell the ambulance men help the man's saved. You've saved a man's life. And then the police arrest you for stealing the boat because the owner has also come for the boat and he has realised his boat's been taken. Now, that's not theft. That was a necessity. The same was used by Richard Perry in court, I'd say, at least 8 times. I think it was 12. Could have been 16. But he used this as a defence for medical cannabis growers. I'm not going to call it marijuana. I'm going to call it cannabis because that's what it's called. So he'd said quite clearly that for some people in the UK, there was no other solution. The prescription drugs that are being given to them often in cases have got far too many side effects attached to these drugs. In fact, many times people are being prescribed for the side effects of, antidepressants, for instance. There's one of them. So Richard Perry takes them in and says, these people have to do this as a necessity. You know, it increases the quality and benefits of the prescribee. Quote, Misuse of Drugs Act. Okay? The Misuse of Drugs Act. Any drug that is prescribed must do what it's prescribed to do, must not have undue side effects, and must be seen to increase the quality and benefits of life as the individual. Mr. Perry there may be slightly an interpretation, but he won every case. The law lords decided it was no longer English law. That's where I get a bit dubious about it. So, Lewis, do you want to? Did you want to say something?
Yes, I do, especially about the doctor prescribing stronger medicines. Oh, with my case, I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, and I have psychotic instances, if you want to call it that. And I find marijuana most beneficial to my case, and they've kept prescribing me stronger and stronger drugs like Valium and diazepam and other stronger versions of it to help control my condition. And all it seemed to do was make me worse. I'll become a drug addict, which I don't want to be. Do you understand where I'm coming from? I totally understand where you're coming from. I was once addicted to prescription drugs. I know exactly where you're coming from. Well, I don't go down that path. You know how hard it is to withdraw from these drugs, don't you?
I do. Look, for me, if you've tried the alternative, if you've tried the conventional medicine, which I know you have because we've spoken previously to this, if you've tried the conventional medicine and the conventional medicine doesn't work, okay, then what is wrong with using something that there is medical evidence to prove now? And this isn't just a few potheads, okay, out there trying to smoke a bit of weed and have a. If you want to do that, I don't see any reason you can't if you put it next.
Neither do I. But that's their choice. I'm doing it out of a necessity to help
no loss,
no loss, no harm. Yes.
Yeah, no deception, no breach of the peace. Exactly.
Yes, I can't see what I've done wrong.
Right.
Hello?
So the issue we've got here is under law, you haven't done anything wrong, as I see it. You haven't created a loss or a deception or a breach of the peace. You haven't done that. You really.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the dog barking. It's one of them things. You're gonna have to put up with that for it. It's only a pup.
We'll get round it.
Yeah, okay. So I'm sorry to all your listeners, mate.
Don't worry. Don't be sorry, man. Don't be sorry. You're here, and the people out there want to know. They want to know, man. This is news. This is live news. This has happened today. I know you're not the only one in the area that it's happened to. My concern is this: if you're growing cannabis or you have cannabis, suddenly you're a gangster. Suddenly now you're looking at 2 years in court. How can we go?
Prison, mate. Prison.
For not guilty.
That's what I'm looking at.
Well,
if I go guilty, I'm not guilty of anything.
That's right.
How can I be guilty of something I've not done wrong?
Well, you haven't broken a law you haven't broken the law. No loss, no harm, no deception or breach of the peace. And the fact that you've informed people of what you're doing, you haven't gone and hidden away. You've contacted the people involved with your particular case.
Yes.
They're aware of your actions. They're aware of actions. And even they're saying if they could prescribe, they would prescribe. So how come we've got Portugal, we've got Spain, Holland, many states within the United States of America, Switzerland, that all now agree. And I'm not just talking about a few potheads. I'm talking about medical foundations, medical associations, all around the world now are recognising cannabis is a cure for cancer. At least, listen to that. If you are out there and you're hearing now, hear my words, please do. Cannabis is a cure for cancer. Yes, run from the cure. Type it in anywhere on the internet. Run from the cure. It's come out of Canada. The Spanish. Now, I'm not quite sure what they are. Like if they're an health authority or an health body, whatever they are, in Spain have now released it, and backed by the government, of course, of Spain. Cannabis is a cure for cancer. The cannabis oil that can be extracted from it. numerous cases now, numerous cases. In Canada, it'll come to me, not Bill Woods, Ron Simpson in Canada, who does the Run from the Cure, actually cured people of lung cancer, melanomas, all sorts. Check out that video. Check it out. Ron Simpson, Run from the Cure. He ends up in court. And they actually find him guilty. The Canadian government find him guilty. Remember, this is court as we kind of get it, as we thought it was when we were growing up, one where there's such a thing as justice.
Yeah.
He's proven it. There is medical evidence to support it now all around the world. And we are told that the...
Just going off...
Go on.
Just going off of my case, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Right, just going off my case, I informed the psychiatric nurse, I've informed the psychiatrist that all the drugs they were giving me weren't working and just making me fat. I got used to it. And I found I've tried alternatives other than just cannabis.
Well, you're going to be muffled.
Sorry, mate.
That's it. Go on, your audio went a bit muffled then. You're good now.
Right, I found, in my case, cannabis works for me. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody. It works for me. And why should I be denied that right as a human being to use that as a medical thing? You know, I don't understand it.
Yeah, right. I've got you there, man. Short over. I think your audio gets a bit warbled after a period of time. I don't know if you're moving your head about or something.
I'm sure. Listen, mate. It's technology. I don't do it.
Yeah. It's good. You're getting there. It's good stuff, man. Don't worry about it. We'll keep correcting it as we go along. I'm thinking of the listeners. You see, I know they're going to want to know.
Well, so am I. Like I've said, I apologise to any listener who misses what I've got to say on this matter. But I do feel quite strongly on it, to be honest. And I will be...
Of course you have. I mean, of course you'd be strongly about it. Let's just start at the events of this morning, if you would. You got out of bed this morning, your let's say, the breach of your peace that took place today.
Well, the 3 or 4 police officers turned up after my children had gone to school, and then they said, I've got a cannabis farm going. And I think 36 plants is an ounce a pot isn't a cannabis farm. Would you? Well, that's how I see it. A cannabis farm to me is when some idiot criminal wants to grow a big field and sell it on. I wasn't selling it. I was using it for myself. So how can I be breaking any law?
Well, I don't. Again, this needs to be governed on the individual case. I would say, well, you're not breaking any law because there's no harm, no loss, no deception, or breach of the peace because that is the law.
Oh.
The rest are acts and statutes.
Well, in my police interview, I did state this, that I can't see what I've done wrong, and I've not broken no law, but they said, you have broken acts, which I said, yes, I understand what you're saying, and I'm holding my hands up to, yes, I have. But apparently, just saying yes to this, I'm a criminal. This is what I don't understand. I thought we lived in a true, just country, not fascist Germany. In 1933. That's what I thought. Obviously we are.
Yes, we are.
Oh, obviously we are.
Yeah, and a lot of our listeners will be nodding their head at you right now. I can feel them going, oh, welcome. You've just woken up, haven't you? You've just realised that since at least 1947, Britain has been run by those that we would have called Nazis. We now call them government. They are a minority.
To me, I'm not an anarchist. I just want my right as a human being to use a drug what helps me beneficially. That's what I want as a human being, and I will be saying this at court.
If Bob was on, if my mate Bob was online, he'd say to you, or he was with us, he may be online, I haven't looked. He'd say to you, "You're not a human being, you're a man."
Yeah, well, all right, then I'm a man.
Yeah, and as your right as a man, well, not a right, as your being, as your presence of a man. If you live under law, then there should be no persecution against you. Hence, that's why I asked today, the question I've got to ask here, who is the victim? Where is the victim?
Well, if I'm growing it and producing it myself, I haven't got a victim. I'm the victim, and how can I be a victim of my own self?
Well, I'd suggest up until the point where you take control back for your own well-being, you are the victim. You're in a position where you've Curious. So just let me get this right. You were given prescription drugs.
Yeah.
Okay, and they weren't doing you the world of good, or were they doing you good? I mean,
to be honest, they were giving me promazine. That didn't work. I was drinking a full bottle. It comes in a liquid form. I'm not sure if it comes in a tablet form. And I was drinking a full bottle of promazine to get the same effect, to control my anger issues, because that's what I suffer from apparently. And what do you call? And it kept going on and on and on. And then they gave me tablet form, Quiapin, which is the same as Prozantin, which is stronger, which is a man-made stuff. And I was ended up taking 15, 20 just to get this muscle so I could function as a human being. Can you understand where I'm coming from? As a man, sorry. If you put aside that word offensive. As a man.
No, it's not offensive. It's just getting these little points that we use. That's all it is. It is. So yeah, we've been giving you drugs, and you're taking more of this drug, and you've come across cannabis. You've started to use cannabis, and you are feeling effects for cannabis. Is that correct? The effects for cannabis are working for you.
Yes. And still working for me up to this point. Now I've got to go back down the track now to find a different alternative to the cannabis now.
Let me get something clear in my head here, right? Let me just... So, you were quite an aggressive, almost violent man because of your issues. These issues are identified.
Yeah, well, yes. I was abused as a child. And so, hang about, my phone's ringing. 1 second.
Right, this is live radio, you've got to love it. So remember, we are at www.
Right. I've got my phone.
Just 1 second. So remember, if you are out there and you do want to join in, you are welcome to do so. If you have actually been in a similar position, or you are actually, we'll keep you anonymous and we won't give your name out. We'll just call you whatever, you know. So yeah, don't worry about that. If you want to remain anonymous, that's fine. You want to come into chat? Where are we? We're in and the chat room via the website at www.darkcity.bobsbackyards.co.uk, and you can just click on the banner, enter the site, and click on the banner at the top, and you can enter the chat room. And there's a few people scarreling about there, as I have actually looked. Dave and Prajna, nice to see you there, lads, in the chat room. Family of the Smith family, nice to see you, and a lot of the other crew. Robo, I won't say Batman because he's a bot. If you want to join us actually live on air this evening and discuss this with us, and we'll put a few more points across yet on what's going on with this Misuse of Drugs Act. Then just add Bob's Backyard to your Skype. Tried to keep it easy for you there, Bob's Backyard all over the place. Just add that to your Skype, and I'll bring you into the call. If you do, when you come on the call, please mute your microphone for us, and then unmute your microphone when you're ready to speak, so we don't get any feedback. And turn your radio off. Do you remember that? Turn your radio off.
I don't know how to turn my radio off, mate.
You're all right. Yours isn't on, man. A lot of the time, people are listening. They ring in, and we get feedback from the radio. So just get in the protocol right.
So, like I say to all the listeners of Dark City Radio, I apologise because I don't know how to use a computer. So tolerate me, please, guys, and be a bit generous towards me, mate.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm just noticing when you're speaking, after about 10, 15 seconds of you speaking, it starts to go warble, but it corrects itself.
Right, then. I'll try to keep my head straight for you and not move about.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all right, man. Like I say, you're doing great. And I'm telling you, the people out there will be really proud of you. It was a complete technophobe.
I believe take an amateur's computer and smash it up. That's my belief anyway. Well, until it doesn't cause trouble.
Until I'm hoping to change that. So I was trying to get to a bit of a point. So you were quite a violent, aggressive bloke, and this is you don't get some help. Basically, you ask out for help and you get drugs. You realise that drugs aren't helping you, and you start using cannabis.
Yes.
So, are you still aggressive?
Can I explain to you a bit about my past?
Yeah.
I used to use it. I used to smoke it when I was a kid, and I used to deal in it. But I've looked back in my past, and I actually got sent to prison for dealing it. But I've looked back in my past, and if it wasn't for the use of cannabis, I'd have been a lot more aggressive and a violent person. If I look back, it's only hindsight looking back the days where I've ended up in prison for a lot violent crimes, if you understand where I'm coming from.
Ah, yeah, I do actually. So, nice bit of a nugget there. Nice bit of a nugget. So previously, it's a bit like an awakening, I suppose. You've realised you're getting aggressive, and you did smoke cannabis, and you realised that chilled you out when you were younger, and you've gone back to using it again.
Yes.
I like to try to get it out as clear as we can, you see. Get it out as clear as we can.
Right, so I've nothing to hide. Yes, I did go to prison for selling cannabis, but then I was blinded by other things. I wanted to be a gangster, and gangsterism doesn't work, full stop. And I agree with everything you say. Crime doesn't pay in the long run, as I found out in the past. Do you understand where that's how life is?
Yeah, I do. I get that. You realise...
If you want to be a gangster, that's down to you. That's your life choice. I don't want to be that person anymore. Well, so when I came out of prison, Go on.
There is a line here that isn't drawn by the authority or so-called authorities at the moment.
I'm sorry, Paul, but one of my kids is harassing me. Go on. Right now. Right. So where was I? Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
As I came out of prison in '96, I realised, and I wanted to change my life. This is how I didn't want to spend my life. But I had to deal with my trauma issues, which I didn't know I had at the time. I knew there was something wrong. I didn't know what it was. Do you understand where I'm coming from, Paul?
Yeah, like I say, you went. I do. You've come out of prison. You've realised you've got some issues, and you've not known what to do or where to turn.
Yeah. So I turned to another illegal drug, alcohol, to help me go through my life, if you want, to cope with the strategies of what was going on in my head with the issues of my abuse.
So you started to self-medicate?
So I started to self-medicate, as the professionals say, to the point where I was going to work on a half vodka bottle a day, and then coming home having 20, 30 pints just to go to sleep at night. So when you start realising alcohol, you're using it for something, and you know there's something wrong. I didn't really get help until my second son was born. That's when I decided. I didn't decide. That's when my head decided. Am I still there with you, Paul?
Yeah, you good.
Right. That's when I decided to get help for my condition. So after the police took me to the nut ward and the psychiatric ward, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, well, that's what we like to call it nowadays, but we'll forgive you.
Listen, I'm not politically correct, so you'll have to put up with it. I'm sorry, guys.
Hey, and you were talking about yourself, so that's quite acceptable.
Right then. So I'm not politically correct, so I will apologise in advance if I offend anybody online to you.
You know, just hearing you talk here and how you're saying to people repeatedly now, excuse me, I'm not too clever at this, I don't mean to offend anybody. This gets me. And today you've gone through an incredibly traumatic event. The police have come to your house and they've entered and you've been arrested, locked up, interviewed, blah, 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 blah.
Because I feel right's on my side.
Did you get angry?
No, I couldn't say I was. No.
Hang on a minute.
I was very helpful towards the police, which, if I can advise you, is to be very helpful to them at all times. If you want to refuse to answer the questions, it's within your rights to do so. But don't deny them access and be as helpful as possible, not interfere in their course of action. Because they're only doing a job, let's face it.
Yeah, well, I always say I'm only doing a job. You know, that's what I'm doing. I'm only doing a job. But I didn't put the uniform on. I didn't come round and I didn't enter your properties, as far as I'm concerned, completely unlawfully.
I agree with you. They shouldn't have done what they've done. I wouldn't be sat here now talking to you about it.
Mention Nazi Europe as it was at the time, and that's exactly what they did. And we've heard this before. Oh, I'm just taking orders. I was just following orders. You know, we've heard.
And then you wonder why 6 million Jews or 52 million people in the war died.
Yeah, well, whoever, it doesn't matter who were killed, there was a lot of them dead. You know, without getting
Yes.
to any of the arguments, any of the dramas, we learned
Yes.
that isn't right, you know.
Yeah.
So, anyway, my point, and you might not getting this, but I'm getting this. I really am. So you've gone through, you've had post-traumatic distress disorder, you've gone through the mill with it. You know,
Yeah.
You've then took, I don't know, you found something that works for you.
Yes.
And just so the listeners, I do know this man. I did know him when he was, well, a very thuggish. Very thuggish.
Paul, be honest. Be honest. Tell them the truth, what I was like, mate.
Well, you're a violent man. That's what you were.
Well,
you were
there you go, then. That's all you need to say to them, isn't it?
man. You've never been violent with me, though. I must say that. You haven't.
Mm-hmm.
Because, well, and again, I don't know why that is really, but anyway, because at one point I've seen this man go through an entire public house like a dose of salts, enraged because they got his name wrong. They got his name wrong.
Yeah, I've done that. Yes.
That simple, a simple trigger and bang, enraged. I mean, if we were in America now, speaking on American radio, they'd say you were programmed as a super soldier. I would actually believe them. I would actually believe them. But the point I'm trying to make is here, you've gone from being an aggressive, violent man to being a passive, caring, loving man.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah. But I also say cannabis is not
just
stopping.
let that sink in a minute. Just let that sink in a minute. How can that be wrong?
It can't be wrong. But I'm not saying cannabis is a help. It's a help, but also being able to talk and release your anger to somebody else and discuss your problem. Any abuse person needs to go and discuss it, and that's why I have a CPN, so I can vent my anger towards that person. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I totally. But anger is a creative energy, and if it hasn't got any creative source, anything to be creative over, then it can rise up and become incredibly destructive.
Then I can become a very aggressive person. So every 2 or 3 weeks, I have to go and see my CPN and discuss my everyday issues, from wiping my backside to why my kid's crying. Because to me, a kid crying just takes me back to when I was a kid being abused. Hello?
Yeah, it's okay. You just warble every now and then. You're coming through okay. It's good.
Right, so that's why I need to also go and have verbal communication with somebody over my issues. Because when I went and got help, I was in a very, very dark place. You understand where I'm coming from? And that dark place was not a very nice place. Alcoholism isn't a nice thing. Anybody can tell you that. Yeah. Alcohol and drugism isn't a nice is a nasty, horrible disease. Well, I wouldn't see it as a disease because I was needing it to medicate myself. But I have all the understanding of anybody who's a drug addict or an alcoholic. I understand it fully, and then my heart goes out to all of them people. You need to go and get help, but only when you're ready, guys. I can't advise you out. You need to do that yourself and find that pit you're in and need to climb out of it. So that is how I got out of the pit, by using cannabis to help me control my issues and talking about my issues, not bottling them up. Is that I find I'm struggling here. I'm being quite emotional here. I'm being open, and I'm finding it very hard to be open speaking to all these people.
Hey, you're doing a great job, man. This needs to get, it really does, man. I really do appreciate it. You can stop whenever you want, bro. You stop your breath whenever you want. That's
but I like to invite anybody who wants to be an activist and wants to change this stupid, outdated law they've brought out. Well, this not law, active law, to come along to the courts at Ashton on the 12th of thingy, to support a man who uses medical marijuana. They're quite welcome to come along and vent their anger at the police.
Well, I like to say, you got that right.
My mate Paulie will use better words than that for me.
No, I think you use brilliant words about being cooperative, to the best that you possibly can. Don't get into the conflict with them. Like you say, as far as they're concerned, they think they're doing the right thing. They think they're doing the right job. As far as I'm concerned, they've surrendered themselves to a fictitious authority. and that's got no right to enter anyone's home, unless...
Oh, I disagree with you there. We do need the police. I mean,
Hang on a minute. No, let me finish. Unless there is loss, harm, or deception, or breach of the police, first you must have a plaintiff. First you must have someone who's made a complaint that you have done these things, and there is not. The only people who have got a problem with this are the very people that are supposed to be helping you.
Yeah.
The police constable is there to assist you. I mean, it should be that they are and apparently many police officers now, and I've heard this myself, actually agree with us. They've lost this so-called war on drugs, and we've moved on to the war on terror. Why have we got a war on anything? It's that old World War II mindset of alcohol, football, and guns. We're moving. We're moving along.
Yeah. Hello. I'm back. I moved my head. Sorry, mate.
It's okay, man. It's good to have you on the Dark City Radio. That's what it's about. It's your radio for breaking news, for people like yourself and anyone else.
Well, I'm open to anybody who wants to ask me any questions.
Yeah. Well, I know there's a couple out there. I know a mate of ours, Prajna. He's actually in the chat room, and he often joins us. They mentioned on Facebook they're there. And anyone who wants to ring in, they know that. And we have had quite, can I say, not a massive response, but we have had a response to this.
It's just in people's eyes. Fuck it. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear. It's only another pothead trying to get out of the legal system. That's what most people see it. Am I not right?
As far as I'm concerned, that it is a system. It is a system.
Yeah.
It's a stupid game. The governments know now. They know, and the only reason they're not legalising this is because of money. They're allowing us, the men and women of the UK, to go through unnecessary hardship and suffering on a daily basis so they can line their own pockets. I've got no doubt about that. What do we do about it? Well, I suspect that we have to make a stand. There's a saying, I think it was Einstein said, the world's a very dangerous place because people have no action.
Of course, I've got to be careful what I say on there, because if there's anybody listening, would they try and use this against me?
Yeah, no. Well, the actual author, I can. I'll tell you just 1 second. Yes, there's a good chance. We have got two sources. One actually at Manchester, and the other one is Burnley. So
Burnley.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't take you long to find out the IP addresses of local areas, and police stations and authority. On Dom's show, we get quite a few of them tuning in, and that's commonly known as Dom's show. Of course, and I invite them. I invite PCSOs, police officers, court officials, barristers, lawyers. I invite you. You're all welcome. This is your radio station to have your say. That's what it's about. Why would we not want them to be part of this? As you said, we need police constables. We're going to need the police once we get rid of the tyrannic government. You said before, there's these gangster mentality that's been bred into our children, television subversive control, sexualizing our children, training our males to kill and war, and that the gun is a sexy, powerful, erotic thing. It may be, but not when it's used to enforce its will upon others.
Can I just say, a slogan I just recently seen sprayed on the wall is to lose your Roman slave mentality. I've seen this sprayed on a certain wall outside a pub, and the Xbox 360 drone training for the US Marines. Is that where you're going down?
Well, yeah, most definitely. The glamorizing of death. I mean, murder and killing. You just watch it all over the TV. I mean, it's there everywhere. That's what we do. We make it something which killing in a real sadistic way is sexy, cool, and hard. What have we come to? What have we come to?
Well,
like I said,
excuse me, Paul. You ask any soldier with postmaster's dress order what killing and war causes.
Well, you know I have. You know
Yeah.
I have. But that's I can't mention them. The names are definitely not. But I have worked with ex-servicemen who have been successful in their training, and they have actually killed. And some of them more than once, some of them numerous times. Of course, this is not considered as murder because they are fighting for this country, the government, so forth. But it never goes away for them. You can teach a man to kill, but you can't teach a man to live with himself after he's killed.
Not really, no.
There is no deprogramming for any soldier or serviceman that comes from the armed services. They get a bit of counselling, but to deprogram them from the mental triggers to attack and assault when feeling threatened is something that becomes cellular. I know one gentleman who could just trigger off and literally could kill with his bare hands and never given anything at all, any kind of help.
Just a pension, a pat on the back and a medal, like all them poor sods in the Somme in 1916.
Hey, and just like you said, a bottle of whiskey. He's now alcoholic. Yeah. He's now an alcoholic.
Now he's an alcoholic. I'm thinking of the same person you're thinking of, and I've seen him in a beautiful part of the country not so long ago. And guess what? He was self-medicating at 9:30 in the morning.
You mean with alcohol?
With alcohol, yes.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. But if I suspect where he is, it's the best place for him to be, really, at the moment. It really is the best place for him to be. But it's a sad thing. You're a survivor. You're actually, you've found a way out. And this is why I think this stuff's so important. Not to turn you into a victim of the society again. I mean, from what I gather is you're going, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, I've done nothing wrong. Hopefully we might
Well, how can I be a guilt? I'm going to correct you there. I need somebody to point out what law I've broken. I'm not guilty of breaking any law. And that's what I'm going down. I'm going down that path. I want somebody to explain to me. I asked the police officer what law have I broken, and he said you've broken a baptismal law, which I said I don't agree with.
What was that last bit? I didn't quite get that. You asked him what law you'd broken, and he said,
yes, you haven't broken the law. You've broken acts of law.
An act of law? Well, I know. We've got a few out there who'll tell you that's got nothing to do with you. That's a merchant. That means it's merchant law. You've had to contract with them. But it's a minefield. It's meant to catch you. It's meant to trap you. Many people have already been trapped by themselves because they didn't know. And this has been bred into us. We've been.
I felt I was being emotionally blackmailed all through the course, knowing that I'm a family man and I've got concerns about my children's welfare. So they used that as well to get me out, to get me to confess quickly to a said crime, which I haven't done.
So you just clarify if you can a little bit there. So they've actually what have they done?
They said to me, if you speed this up, you can get home and go and get your kids from school and get you back in time for your kids for school, right? Just to get me to confess quickly and get me out the door faster, so they can fill less paperwork in.
Just hang on a minute. So did you have I take it you are under the Mental Health Act?
Yeah, of course I am. Yeah.
Right. Well, and you've been interviewed on your own?
Yes.
Well, that's imminent.
Apparently I waived that right.
That I am certain, and if we've got anybody else out there who can verify this for me, that you need to have a responsible adult with you at all times. If you're suffering from some kind of a mental disorder or a so-called illness or sickness, and many of these aren't illnesses and sicknesses, as I know, and I'm sure some of our listeners know, these are just diagnoses of people because they don't know what's the matter. They just stick a label on you, give you drugs, and try and sweep you under the carpet. So, I'm pretty certain. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. I'm my own lawyer.
But I decline that right, you see. just to for my children, to get home for my children. I decline that right.
Well, you can't. It's not you're not in a position to decide whether you require that right or not. That's the reason why it's there, because they say that you're not mentally competent to make those decisions. That you need to have a responsible adult. I mean, the wording's a bit crazy, but you want a responsible adult with you.
Right.
You have one, and if that's already happened, then you cannot say whether you want one or not. You can't.
Uh-huh.
You've already forgone that right. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. It'll be fun at court. Definitely, I would support you, man. That's no problems at all. It goes without saying, as I will do my best to support anybody who stands against these acts and statutes being enforced upon them, and especially. You know, in this case, what gets me is that they were already informed. They knew what you were doing. You know?
Yeah, obviously they did, because they straight away they came in and asked for.
Your mental health workers and your doctors, they knew what you were doing.
Yeah, I've informed everybody.
So, yeah, I'm sure to get a warrant, they need to do investigation. And if they'd done their investigation as they're supposed to have done, then this warrant shouldn't have never been issued.
Well, under this so-called act of law, they can issue a warrant, and that's what they used, an act, not law.
Yeah, but isn't the magistrate that signed it? Doesn't they swear an oath?
Well, I don't know. Like I say, I'm not a solicitor.
Yeah, well, like I say, neither am I.
I'm not a legal expert, so I can go on to lead anybody down a garden path thinking.
No, I don't either. But I know, because I've seen it happen in court on illegal recordings. If you listen to them, that you're not allowed to record it, and I've seen that without the magistrate does swear an oath to uphold the law.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure what that oath is off the top of my head. And if they are now writing warrants under acts and statutes, then that would be unlawful. They're acting because they're not upholding the law; they're upholding acts and statutes. And at least, at a very minimum, that is a conflict of interest. You've got them a magistrate there acting as a collector of taxes. Basically.
Don't worry about that, Paul. I will be asking the magistrate or the person who will be trying me, be it a magistrate or a judge, what law I've broke, and I will be asking that on more than one occasion.
Again, my thoughts would be to actually ask the magistrate before you start whether they're acting under their oath.
I'll get my solicitor to ask him.
Don't think you will find a solicitor in the country that would do it. But hey, if you do, let us know.
Yeah. Well, trust me, what have I got to lose? I'll go to prison. What have I got to lose? They've already told me I'm looking at 2 years. Hey, what's another 3 years for fucking the government over? Sorry. I can't help it.
Oh, it's 3 years away from that family. It's 3 years away from your loving wife and your loving children.
Yes.
You know, you're a family man. You know, you love your kids and your family. I've seen that.
Yeah.
You know, I know that to be the truth. You know, there's no doubt there. And, you know, for your children to be deprived of the father, what have the children done wrong?
They've done nothing.
Yeah.
But
so these illegal imprisonments of people. Okay, the last case they're going off, and this is what they're quoting. I think it was for 4 plants, and basically the guy's a gangster, scally.
Yeah.
And then they use that as a precedent. We have other precedents of law. That on medical grounds, which they've gone to Crown Court and been found not guilty. They don't want to use those as a precedent. Why? The question behind all this to me is why and where.
Because they will have to change the law, the acts of law.
Acts? Well, we should get rid of all.
They'll have to change the acts of law, which they will have to do. Eventually, the government does know eventually they will have to change the act. The government does not realise that, but they're just kicking and screaming. Yes, I do, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was thinking that 20 years ago.
I was thinking that 20 years ago as well.
Yeah, it's a little bit Gladio, isn't it? I mean, in another 20 years, will we be saying they'll be doing it in 20 years? More than likely, because I'm sure 20 years before we said it, somebody else said it. It can't go on much longer. This is ridiculous. It is getting where there's a mass
well,
pressure.
Well, when the policemen don't want to come for a few plants and they want a massive farm, like they was told there was in my address, a massive cannabis farm, they seemed quite devastated that there was only 36 plants. Very, very devastated and upset. They
to a lot of people,
one of the police, say again, mate.
To a lot of people listening, 36 plants is a lot of plants. But I know because I've worked well, I know because I've worked in the industry that there's different ways of growing these plants. These aren't actually full-size plants like most people would understand them. These are grown very small, and that's the technique. So you use a lot of plants but grow them very small over a shorter amount of time. So otherwise people think, my God, that's loads. No. The way of growing only produces maybe half an ounce. Maybe 1 ounce, maybe 1 ounce if you're really good at it, and that takes years of experience to get there. Trust me. And that then would give roughly about maybe 3 months, 4 months supply to an average maybe 6 months supply, maybe even 12 months supply to depending again on the amounts. Like I say, this is a very individual thing when this comes. I've pushed for research, and there has been a vast amount of research done on there on the hybridizing of these strains. There are one company in Canada now only grows and crossbreeds to increase the quantities of CBD rather than THC, which is much better for the medical uses of cannabis. So what does it actually do? What does cannabis actually do? You know, what is this wonder drug plant, really, not really a drug.
For me, what it does for me.
What does it actually do for everyone? How can it actually be able to solve so many ailments? You know, how can it cure glaucoma, lung cancer, depression, anxiety? I mean, there's numerous. There's just so many things. How can this one plant manage to cure and heal? I mean, we're talking about healing here, really healing. I mean, this has the ability not only to stop cancerous growth, but remove it completely. We're talking about cure.
I wouldn't say it's cured me fully, but it's helping me get there. Do you understand where I'm from?
Hang on a minute, that's easy, man. You've gone through one of the most stressful. Stress was one of the triggers that made you aggressive.
Yes.
Would I say it would be a major trigger that made you aggressive with stress?
Yes.
If you were completely stress-free, then you don't get aggressive. And when you're in a stressful situation, you become aggressive.
Yes.
You're cured. You've been locked up today. You didn't get angry. You say I'm cured. I'm saying it's helping my condition. It's amazing. They've come into your home. They've took you away. You know you've done nothing wrong. You've only done what's right. You've stood for what's right, and you've not got angry, or you're cured, mate.
Thanks anyway. Other people will say different.
Well, let them say different. My argument here is they're trying to take away your medicine because you're another individual that has cured themselves with cannabis. Maybe you feel like you still need to use that, and obviously that would be an issue now. I know for a fact that cannabis is going for approximately £250 an ounce on the street because it's illegal. If they turn around and said to people like yourself, okay, you can grow whatever, 2 plants, give him 2 plants, give him 5 plants. You know, you don't have to do 30. You can grow it all the time then, all the time. You won't have an issue. Allow people to grow together cooperatively in small groups like they've done in other countries.
Like they've done in certain states in America as well.
Well, you know, why should the honest working everyday people of England pay the police's wages to come and do this? What does this serve us, any of us? You know,
they're not serving me, mate.
Well, exactly. I mean, how does it serve any man? This is another waste of public money and of police time.
Yes, I totally agree with you there.
So, right, we're getting up towards the hour. We'll play a little bit of music, about 5 minutes. We'll play a bit of music. I think give us about Don't do it yet, Jim, if you're there. Is he there? I don't know, he is there. He's on the server. I can see him. So
Right,
we're going to have a break.
right then.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to invite anyone that's to come in. I've got a request coming there as well. So we're going to play this little bit of music, and I'll pull a few people in, and you can... actually, that's Robo saying to me, Pooh Rick. I don't know what Pooh Rick means. You're going to have to give me better messages than that.
So would I. I agree with you there. Right, Paul. So I'll come back online. I'll come back online in 5 minutes. Then I'm going for a wee.
All right, mate. No worries. So,
Right.
what we've got here, ladies and gents, boys and girls, our listeners out there in the internet world of internet radio.
And if anybody wants to ask me any questions, I'm willing to answer their questions.
Okay, nice one. So,
Okay, mate.
what we've got there, ladies and gents of the internet world, what have we got? We've got a gentleman who has, I don't know, what are your points of view? What's your angle on this? I'm a little bit biased. As some of you know, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis at the age of 11. I was addicted to prescription painkillers by my early 20s. Took them like Smarties, couldn't do anything without them, and which led me towards being told I had mental issues. Anybody just needs to do a little bit of research to find out, anyone taking painkillers for that long, if you haven't got mental issues, there's something wrong with you. So I'm then prescribed various other different drugs for the side effects of the actual drugs. This never-ending decreasing circle of best what I could call depression. And I didn't even know I was depressed. Such a completely different life I have once I actually stopped all that. Even to the facts where I had these put in my food by a very, very poorly lady who was suffering from severe emotional and mental issues, again, which are left unchecked, undone. Where do we go? What's your point of view? What's your angle on this? Do you think that we should or should not have medical centres, medical facilities set up for individuals to get free dispensation of cannabis, just for the simple reason to take down the drugs crimes on the street? Especially only a few months back now, we had 2 police officers killed on the streets in Manchester by an hand grenade over drug wars. I'm not...
Exactly, mate.
I'm not a gangster. Anyone who's out there is using this wonderful plan to increase the quality and better of the life. We need to make a stand. I'm not saying we all need to stand in this case, but we need to stand today before there are any more cases. And when we catch these people using this just so they can negotiate and navigate around punishment, because they have been doing it to deceive or to... Yeah, fair enough. I haven't got an issue there. My issue is for those people who are taking prescription drugs that self-harm. They know this is going on. The story you've heard tonight, is one but many. I know that's going on, that individuals taking medication when they stopped smoking cannabis, when I was growing cannabis, which I'm unable to do now. So, where are we going with it? We're going to go over to a break. I'll get myself a cup of tea. We'll have a bit of a tune. And I think Jim's got all that set up ready to roll. And then we have a Prajna just call in. I'll try and bring Prajna back in. And, we'll take it for another hour. So, there we go.
Right, then. Right, I'm going to go to the toilet myself now.
I'm just waiting for the music. Where are you, Jim? There he is. Catch you in about 5 or 10, peeps.
Right, okay.
To find your increases. Good over evil is our evidence. In this world, it's dread. Your seal is a sign. In the morning, we shall rise. Through the sun of gold, oh, for the blue, Mother Nature green. The night is the shadows of the day. Make another day is rising. We are shall rise, ooh yeah, shall rise. We are shall rise, ooh yeah, shall rise. Knowledge is our refreshment, it plays of creation. Of what we do burns deep at the sheep at last to be found. We are shall rise, ooh yeah, shall rise. We are shall rise, ooh yeah, shall rise. Shall rise, ooh yeah, shall rise. We are shall rise, ooh yeah, shall rise. Pick up the pieces to find your increases. Good over evil is our evidence. In this world, it's dread. Your seal is a sign. In the morning, we shall rise. We shall rise. Ooh yeah, shall rise. We shall rise. Ooh yeah, shall rise. We are shall rise. Ooh yeah, shall rise. We are shall rise. Ooh yeah, shall rise. We are shall rise, 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 ooh yeah. Please, Mr. Music Man, we are important teachers. Please, Mr. Music Man, we are important teachers. Jaja gives us faith to salute the world with thanks. Oh, how I have learned not to be scared, but to give thanks. Oh, how I have seen beyond closed eyes. Oh, how I have felt, oh, Jah, the music. Please, Mr. Music Man, we are important teachers of Jah land. Let's not fuss, let's not fight. Fighting for flesh, silver or gold. With all the money I have, all the pleasure it share, I'm still aware of your love. Aware of your love. With all the money I have, all the pleasure it share, I'm still aware of your love. Aware of your love. Yes, I'm still aware of your love. We are important teachers. Please, Mr. Music Man, we are important teachers. Jaja gives us faith to salute the world with thanks. Jaja gives us faith to salute the world with thanks. Please, Mr. Music Man, we are important teachers. 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 Please, Mr. Music Man, we are important teachers.
Right, ladies and gents, we're back with The Dark City. This is The Dark City Show. I'm Bob from Bob's Backyard. Of course, my real name's Paul Hayden. Find me on Facebook, and all to the 96 friends I've made in the last 2 weeks. Hey! I'm becoming a Facebook addict. I love to hate Facebook. We've had some great stuff. I don't really ask for help, mate. Very rare, I actually ask for help. I've had the mindset that if people around me can't see when I'm in need, then there's no point in me saying anything. But the other day I did. I actually went on there and I just went, help! We need to get this more professional. There's lots of people coming. I didn't think it'd take off like it did. What am I going to do? I'm having a bit of a panic attack, you know. Wow, success. Something's actually being successful. What can I do? Guy called Dan contacted me. I mean, big shouts out to them people on Facebook. I'm not going to mention your names again. People are going to think we're having an affair. But there's one little lady out there, and she has, you won't believe it, she's been like a little angel. She really has. On more than one occasion now, she just keeps turning up and going, there you go. Thank you very much. My thing is sometimes you've got to be open to receive. I'm learning that. That's something I've got to learn about. And I have been open to receive, and lo and behold, with a little bit of luck, we'll have the brand new server tomorrow, and that's a new machine. The Linux man, Dan, he's coming sometime this week, maybe early next week, don't know. Guy can do it. So we're going to have a full professional setup here. We're not going to do any half measures. We've had some brilliant help from the people in the Anon chat room. Yeah, I did it all wrong. I'm looking at it now and I think I did it all wrong. But I learned. I actually learned from that process. If you are out there and you have got people telling you you've done something wrong, or you're telling yourself you've done something wrong, remember for me, if you can't do it for yourself, it's only a matter of time before you learn that lesson. You learn that lesson, we'll move along. That's what we do. We've got to stop living in the past. We've got to stop continually repeating the same action and expecting a different outcome.
You mean like the police, Paul?
Introduce yourself, man. We're in the second half of the show. If you do want to call in, Prasen has just joined us, but introduce yourself, man. Tell the listeners who you are, what you're doing here, and then we'll take it right over to you, Prasen.
I'm Lewis. Hello?
Yep, go on. I'm Lewis, and what happened today, Lewis?
I got arrested under an illegal act.
Under the Misuse of Drugs
Juicing
Act.
cannabis, I believe, yeah.
Under the Misuse of Drugs Act, and that's why Lewis is with us today on the show, because this is the live news event. Prajna, introduce yourself, mate. Have we lost Prajna?
I think you have.
Take your mute off, Prajna. Take your mute off.
What do you like?
Yeah, I'm getting another message here coming in from the Anon chat room asking me about deep water hydroculture. I'll get there for you, man. I do know a little about it, but not a vast amount. I know its principle, never actually used it. So we'll try Prajna. If you do come on Prajna, just try whenever you can. Sometimes we have internet problems, and it looks like we're having a few with Prajna today. Can't hear him at all. If you are out there and you do want to join in, please do. Add Bob's Backyard to your Skype and give us a message. If you've already done that and I haven't noticed you, right, just message me. Oi, Dopey, bring me in. And I'll bring you in straight away. So, who've we got here now? So, Lewis, where were we? What do you reckon? Where's the steps? Where are we going to go with this? What do the people do? You know, how can we? How can the people assist? I take it you're going to keep us informed.
Yeah.
You're going to keep.
Yeah, I'll keep you informed. Yes. Well, I'm appearing in court on the 12th of February, and for cultivation of cannabis and possession of cannabis.
Right.
Hello?
But there's no.
Still hear me?
Yeah. There's no supplying or any of that there. So they've been.
No.
Right. Well, they're actually already. They're letting you know.
They asked me that. That's one of the standard issue questions, isn't it?
Oh, Prajna, are you there?
Oh, can you hear me?
Get a bit closer to that microphone. I thought, Callie, don't start wrestling with Callie for it now.
Turn things up a bit. Is that any better?
Yes, that's it. We can hear you now, mate. Welcome to the...
Yeah. So I was trying to say earlier, by way of introduction, I'm Prajna, and I think I'm qualified to talk about this because I'm stoned. And one of the things
well done, man.
One of the things I'd like to point out.
That's not going to help me, is it, mate?
One of the things I'd like to point out is that the United Nations, of all strange little organisations, published a document called the United Nations Declaration, or in fact, Universal Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. And in there, it goes through, it lists all these wonderful rights. It's the most superb document. It's well worth a read. And in there it says that one of the rights we're entitled to is our traditional medicines. And there is no more traditional medicine than cannabis. Up until 80 years ago, maybe a little longer, 1/3 of all prescribed medicine prescribed by a doctor, contained cannabis. Cannabis has been with civilization as long as civilization has ever existed. Wherever they've settled down, there has been cannabis growing alongside, as far back as archaeologists can find. So something's a bit wrong, isn't it? When they take this wonderful medicine, this fabulous food, this absolutely superb building material, and they ban it, something is terribly wrong. We know we're dealing with people who don't have our interests at heart.
Yeah.
When you know they're all...
Also, you can use it for paper as well. Many things you can use it for.
Oh, many things.
You know, the irony, gentlemen, the irony here is the strain of cannabis rubellus, which is it rubellus, rhubarbus, ruby summit, which is not indica or sativa origin, can't be used for medical purposes. That's the one that's used for building, for animal fodder, for paper material, clothing, etc. So why ban it? Why can't?
Well, exactly.
Why do you need
because
to...
it threatens all the petrochemical industry.
Right.
Yeah.
Why ban it? Because the Americans wanted to win an unwinnable war.
Paper industry, oil industry, you name it.
Yeah, and the paper industry, the pulping of wood needs vast amounts of chemicals to actually do it, bleaching agents and so forth that are used, produced by the petrochemical industry. So yeah, I don't dispute it. You've got the petrochemical industry, and then on the other side of this, the other two strains are taking on the drug manufacturers, and right in between, we've got the governments who are raking in the cash from both sides. This is who we're up against. This is who we are up against. And I can tell you now, one man stood in his own power, or woman stood in her own power in these places brings forth change. I've been there. I've been there.
Paul, can I just tell you about a particular instance that everybody's got access to? You can track down a film of Howard Marks of a show that he did at the Edinburgh Fringe.
Yeah.
And he goes through the whole of this. Everybody should see that, not just from a point of view of legalizing cannabis, but from a point of view of just being a freeman and standing in your own truth. Because that's what Howard Marks did. He went into the superintendent's office and sat there and rolled a spliff on the fucker's desk and then lit it up and then said, "Go on, bust me." And he said, "Oh, fuck off, Marks." And Marx said, "Well, why are you hassling all these teenagers and smoking, harming no one in their own bloody rooms? Yeah, and here I am, an international drug criminal. Yeah? You don't want to see me in court, do you?"
This is quite now. This is where I think Lewis is going with this, Roger. I don't think.
Yeah, I'm not an international criminal. I think international criminals should be locked up. Why should I give my money to a criminal?
Yeah, the thing is,
rather give it to charity.
No. I think what Prajna's actually he was no more of a criminal. They said he was an international criminal because he was smuggling cannabis into the country.
What he was saying, what Marx was saying, and what I say is that they're all a bunch of fucking criminals. They're in no position to criticise anyone. Christ, they're committing what Chief Justice Jackson called the supreme international crime, waging wars of aggression.
I've not voted since 18, Prav. I haven't voted since I was 18 because of a Conservative MP over the miners' side, I think it was, and the way he lied through his teeth. I was out in a lie on more than one occasion. I can't remember what he was over. I don't even remember what this MP was talking about, but I think it was mainly about the miners. I would never vote for a Conservative or a Labour MP or a Liberal MP.
Yeah, it's all about taking your power back slowly but surely, recognising that you can't give authority to anybody else. I think there's another point there that Prajna was bringing up where within the Howard Marks story. I know Howard Marks. He owes me money, actually. We did his birthday party. Seriously.
Who else had it in for you? Alex Jones.
It's another.
Making all these speaks.
A big gig in Manchester, man, a while ago. It's another story. But quite a funny story. But Howard was in a situation where he walked into the room and said, "You don't want to see me in court." I don't think Lewis will ever end up in a position where he stood there with those people saying that. But I would not be surprised if it never gets there. It wouldn't.
I will be in court. That's. I'm in court. There's no doubt about it. I'm in court.
I know you're going to go to magistrates' court, and then there'll be a committal to Crown and so forth. But whether or not they actually want somebody with your attitude in their court building, repeatedly asking them what law you've broken, and that you don't understand. Oh no, I don't understand. What law have I broken? They don't want you there.
Pravin, I don't know. Pravin, what you're saying, you're highly political. I'm not. I don't want to be a political person because all politicians are liars, and I won't vote for them. Right? I understand your point of view. I'm not trying to make it a political. I'm trying to make it. I'm not even trying to make it an issue. I just want my right as a human being to use certain things to help my country. I can't see what I've done wrong. Now, if they're going out selling it and running around and making vast profits off like some people do, yes, I'd hold my hands up, yes, I'm a criminal. But I'm not. Do you understand?
I comprehend fully what you're saying. You do warble a little bit.
I'm trying my best.
All right, no, it's not yours. You're great. I've realised if I blow in my microphone, your wobbling stops. So when you start wobbling, I blow and you're wobbling. It's great, isn't it? We can do it. We're one big family here on the Dark City. We can do it. So yeah. I think
I agree with Pravin's.
No, where you are with it, Lewis, right now at this moment in time, and what you're saying, as far as I'm concerned, is bang on. What have you done wrong? What law? Yeah, right, Prajna, you know a little bit more about this. You've been out there, man. You've gone toe to toe, with the so-called authority on more than one occasion. What law has he actually broken?
What have they charged him with? They've charged him with...
For an act. I can get why the lads are confused. I really can't get it. Because he hasn't broken the law, am I right? No loss, written law. Written
Well,
law.
I agree.
No
I agree.
exception,
Yeah,
no
but,
breach the peace.
but they won't.
Right, well, isn't written into law love thy neighbour? How is their actions to be seen as loving thy neighbour?
Oh, well, not only that, the Queen took an oath to be merciful in her justice. Did she not?
Yeah, but there is no
I
justice.
don't know.
Do you know
Queen in my eyes.
they took our fucking home away and destroyed it, and then evicted us from our next home and took everything? Yeah, how's that?
You know,
fucking
that is not
compassion?
your neighbour. Right, so yeah, but look, saying this, even though we're talking about them that, well, in my opinion, are mentally ill. They are mentally ill. You see, in my opinion, Lewis is not been ill. He's never been ill. Yeah, he was aggressive and he was angry, right? But he had a right to be angry in this world we're living in right now. I've got a right to be angry.
So,
We've all got
yep.
a right to be angry about what's going on. And the fact that people aren't, and by angry I don't mean aggressive. I don't mean aggressive. That's when we go overboard then. We're taking...
No, just a bit chunky Mark, I think you mean.
Oh, Chunky Mark in his taxi, right.
Yeah, everyone is good. You get a bit fucking chunky Mark about all these issues from time to time, don't you? You got to. It lets off some steam.
Yes, that's it, Chunky Mark, the poet taxi driver. Brilliant guy. If you haven't come across him out on YouTube, well, we are dropping a plug. The music that was played in the middle of the break is from Albert Clark. It's available under the Stuff tab at Bob's Backyard, Dark City, /Dark City, or darkcity.bobsbackyard.co.uk. Gets you to the same place. And it is all about using different routes to get to the same place.
Well, so I can sit here and not be worried about my door coming in by a load of animals.
You should never be in that position.
That possibility.
Go again, Prad, I spoke over you.
I said you can't entirely dismiss that possibility. Remember what they are. They're a bunch of thugs and criminals. Yeah?
And you don't even...
And they're controlled by very greedy thugs and criminals. And
they're there to help protect us, aren't they?
All they're really interested in is money. They just want money.
Pay them a lot.
Prav, we're answering me this. Why so allowed me to buy the equipment? Music for?
I can answer that.
Go ahead. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, you just get a bit warbled. It's okay. I've got my warble detector on. Translator. Why can you buy all the equipment, but why you're not allowed to use it? You can actually. It is not. Well, it's not unlawful to do anything, but under their acts, under their stupid acts, it is only illegal once you cultivate. Cultivation is illegal. And now there's been an argument on this before. If you're using an automated hydroponics technique, okay, that means basically you fill it up with water and walk away, and it does it for you. Okay?
They asked me who filled the tanks up.
Who's cultivating it? Cultivation means you're actually looking after it. You're actually looking after it. So it's a I don't really know on that. But that's what it actually it is. Once you begin the cultivation, and so you can use this, and I do use it. I use aquaponics, mainly aquaponics nowadays, but I used hydroponics and aquaponics. I've given lectures at Salford University, to schools and colleges, to teachers on the implementation of aquaponics into education across the national curriculum. So, I'm not behind the door on this. When I've been telling the teachers how to teach it, it gives you an idea. It just gives you an idea. I do know what I'm on about. Or at least I've got more of an idea than they have. In fact, I've got a hell of a lot more idea. Most of them didn't even know the nitrate cycle. And they're science teachers, for God's sake. Anyway.
Anyway.
It's not...
They're doing you for a whole lot of imaginary plants, aren't they? Was that your story, that there was this big area, and they said because it was a big area that you must have intended to grow a shitload of plants there, but actually you only had a couple or something?
Mine?
I had. Who's you talking to, Pravin?
Yours.
You're talking
You.
me? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, he didn't
I'd
have a
say-
big area. No, what they've
I didn't have a big area, no. I had 36 plants
They've come
in
looking
about
for,
a metre.
they've come looking for a farm, thinking he's got all the bedrooms done and this, that, and the other. He's a family man. He's a family man with a little grow.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's not to me a farm. That's personal.
Well, sure. No, to me. Yeah.
Yeah, so they came specifically looking for a huge, big, massive cannabis farm. They expected all the children to be in one room. They had to break the wall on the room where it was thingy. The children don't even know what was in that room, right? And it would have been eventually brought down because we were needing the space for the baby.
Yeah.
So I still can't understand why I've been victimised, basically, for using something I find...
Might be hard for you to grasp there, Lewis, but you're being victimised because you're living in Nazi Britain.
Yeah.
I've already said that,
You're
mate.
being
Yeah, I know
victimised.
you have.
You're being
I know you have.
victimised because there are a whole lot of corrupt institutions there that all have this system of money. They get so much money, they get, grants, they get all this kind of thing if they achieve this, and they do this many convictions and all this kind of thing, and they employ all their solicitors and they employ all their fucking CPS and they employ all their policemen and everyone else, and they get to produce these big statistics saying this is the extent of drug use in Britain, and it's all a big fucking con. It's all a big con from beginning to end.
The Americans tried prohibition in the 30s with alcohol, didn't they?
Yeah.
Just say that. Did it work there?
No.
That's prohibition since 19...
But the Americans actually fought a war of independence. They actually fought a war of independence, and that failed as well.
Who did?
The Americans. They fought for independence against illegal bank charges being paid to countries outside the United States. In that case, it was Britain. And they fought against Britain. And now they're being charged illegal bank charges from countries outside the United States. They've got a federal system that's been set up, which their very forefathers and founders of the United States actually wrote the Constitution to avoid. They failed. And it's a bit of a biggie for us to bite off. We thought that we'd beaten the Nazis, not allowed the Nazis to come over here, not allowed over 3,000 men coming through the rat lines. Go and do the research. Go and look at Gladio. Don't take my word for it, listeners. We here, not me, I wasn't around, it weren't Prajna, it weren't Lewis, it wasn't any of you lot. But the so-called authorities allowed an entire brigade of German SS soldiers to come to the United Kingdom, Britain, amongst other places, America, Australia, New Zealand, and the favourite of them all, South America. And these were shipped out through the rat lines running through the Vatican. Paid for it. We know this now. We've found it. We know it.
Well, that's a different issue, isn't it, Paul?
Those 3,000 SS troops, wanted men, were given freemen of the land. They were made freemen of the land. For us,
why were they made freemen of the land?
You'd have to go and ask those people who give it them, because we have been enslaved by the Nazi regime.
Oh, no, of course.
That's
how I feel.
Did they not send stormtroopers? Did they not send them stormtroopers to your house this morning saying, if you don't let us in, we will use aggression and violence? If you don't make it easy for us, we will make it hard for you? Did they not use tyranny and the threats of force to dominate you? Of course.
Yes.
Does that sound familiar?
Yes, it sounds. All I need now is saying is to put a yellow star on my chest.
Exactly.
A big yellow cannabis leaf, because I'm a lawbreaker, and I don't see I've broke a law. I don't see it in the slightest bit. And anybody who's doing it, I don't see why they should be punished, especially on medical grounds. Not any grounds, anyway. It's wrong.
Yeah, well, you haven't broken the law.
Pardon?
You haven't broken the law. You haven't broken the law.
I know I haven't.
It's great.
I've broken their acts. In their eyes, I have.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly, man. There is no law broken. You know, I think we could get to natural law eventually, but we've got to be able to get the comprehension of law is common to all. you often hear people call it common law. You can't find. Try and look up common law. You won't find it. Just look up law. Just look up law. You know.
Even a police officer said, "What am I doing here?" Even a police officer said, he said he turned his excuse for being here because it was my turn.
Because it was
my turn.
Your turn.
Yeah, my turn to get my collar felt.
Yeah, they're going down the list.
Yeah. That's right.
It was my turn.
That's right. We're going to get you for something. We don't know what it is. You've stood up. You've empowered yourself. You're taking control back for your own well-being. You're getting a knock at your door. Look, if you're listening out there, I'm not a fearmonger. You'll get to know this. If you don't know me already, I'm not a fearmonger. I'm a realist. This man today is English born and bred. Before he knew it, he wore around, English, proper Englishman, born and bred. He's not a Jew. He's not really religiously minded. He's not a political activist. He's not.
I'm not, no.
They will kick his door in for any old excuse. Don't think they won't take yours in.
Well,
they have been squeezed me, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. They've squeezed me before. I'm hoping that through us doing these shows, that you lot won't get squeezed. When they come to try and put the pressure on you lot out there, and don't think, oh, I'm all right. I'm not a Muslim. I'm not brown-skinned. I'm an Englishman. Don't think that.
Yeah,
because it won't.
In fact, they've already got us all. Just they do different things at different times and put the pressure on in different ways at different times. Maybe they'll sick social services onto you, or they'll sick someone else onto you.
I'm fully aware, Raj. We're like a family here. We're like a family here on the Dark City. That's what we are. We're brothers and sisters, women. We're boys and girls.
I have been a political activist.
You're breaking up badly.
I tried to get access to one of my sons. Can you hear me now, Paul? Hello?
Go on, try again now.
Paul, can you hear me?
Yes, go on.
Right, I was a member for Fathers for Justice because I was treated to just to see my child as a criminal. What gives the court to decide that? Or any woman to decide that I'm a criminal just to see my child.
Yeah, well...
That's a different issue. We can all go down these issues.
Yeah.
Well, then my main concern now is I've smoked marijuana for many years, and I want to know what I'm doing wrong. I can't see what I'm doing wrong. I really can't. Tell me what I've done wrong. I can't see it.
You're not doing anything wrong at all.
Yeah, stop looking for this thing you've done wrong, man. That's their game. You've not done nothing wrong. You've not.
Yeah, I understand this.
Nobody's got.
I understand this. So I'll be asking somebody who knows the authority in a courtroom, what have I done wrong?
You're the only one in authority in a courtroom.
Right. So, all right then. The one who's going to pass said judgment on me.
Oh yeah, that's it. You see, that's the whole idea, is to get your mind into that position where you'll accept that there's somebody with authority over you that can actually pass judgment over you. Now look, if you are religious, there's only one who can cast judgment, and that'd be God. And if you're not religious, then that'd be you.
Yeah. Well, in casting my judgment, I have done nothing wrong. In my judgment, have I gone out and raped somebody? Have I gone out and killed somebody? Have I sold a bag of poison to somebody? Have I done this? Have I done that? I haven't. I'm sat there all through me questioning, what have I done wrong? And this is what I can't understand. What have I done wrong? Even now, I cannot understand that. And I'm 47.
It's because you haven't done anything wrong.
There you go then. You're telling me, but the man's saying I have.
Yeah, well, don't listen to the man. He's full of it, man. He's actually ill.
I know he's full of crap and all that.
He's ill.
And his lackeys are full of crap and all.
You?
Do you know, I think the best we can hope to achieve in court is to show what the truth of the court system is. That's the best we can hope to achieve.
Well, that's where I'm going to have to go down, isn't it? Because other than that, I'm going to be a criminal again. And I don't want to be a criminal.
Well,
I want to come into your house, probably, and rob you blind. Don't want to do that. All I want to do is sit in my own house, roll a bit of weed, and smoke a joint.
It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like a really such a terrible request, does it? I want to just do my own thing in my own house without giving anybody any grief.
At least, actually, I'm not running around the estates, running around selling drugs like the one.
Heroin.
Heroin.
Yeah,
Whatever they want.
I've seen it, man. Like I say, I've seen it, what it can do to young kids. The backlash of this, these so-called gangster little gangs going round, You know what happens?
Yeah, I see it every day on my estate, mate. Every day I see it. Every day on the street I see it. Every day. And every day it just walks past. And nobody tries to stop. They make it sound like they're trying to
Oh,
stop.
no, man. That's not true. That's not true, man. I mean, I know where you might be at this moment in time. You might not be able to see anybody but yourself. But we are everywhere. We are everywhere now. I mean, we're not the majority. I accept that. We have been led to believe there's a lot more of us than that there is. We have. But, we are everywhere now. We're in all creeds, all cultures, all religions, all backgrounds. We are. And slowly but surely, we will integrate. We will integrate. There's no.
Well, all these damaged souls, what they let walk past every day. You've all seen that advert on TV where it shows that young man when he sat there angry as a young kid. That was me. That's the best thing I can say. That advert on the TV. If you never watched it, look out. It's for Bernardo's. And that's the man I was. That was the angry young man I was. Everything was, I couldn't see it because of my issues, my trauma issues. And I found a way of coping strategy, how my CPM puts it, and which works for me on why I try to use my coping strategies to go through life the best way I know how. Can somebody explain to me now what have I done wrong for coping? Take life easier.
Yeah, well, I can tell you what they think you've done wrong, man. In my eyes, and I stand corrected on this, you've took control for your own well-being and cured yourself, or you're on the way to curing yourself. I mean, I can hear you speaking, man. You're passionate about this, that you're continually questioning it over and over again. I don't know if you can. I mean, you'll be able to listen to the recordings, but you're questioning it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's when you break the drama of the interrogator. You become the questioner. You start questioning these things around.
Oh, I felt like I was being interrogated. They even tried using emotional blackmail in the interview with me, using my wife, saying, "Well, if you don't make a call, if you don't change, basically, if you don't stop making no comment incident, we'll go and arrest your wife." Or where does your wife's money? Stuff like that, which to me is emotional blackmail.
Yeah, well, listen, man.
You say that's emotional blackmail.
Well, from what you've been in, you shouldn't have even been interviewed without a responsible person with you.
Right.
You shouldn't have even been interviewed.
Responsible adult. It's all there on the pace.
Yeah.
If you tell them or if they have any suspicion.
Oh, they were told.
No, they were told them.
They were told by his carer. Told them he's exempt under the four corner rule. Under the Mental Health Act. So it shouldn't be. This guy's a guy who's actually took responsibility for his own well-being. Sure. Really has. He's done what he can possibly do, and he's actually made some massive progress. I know, right? I know you wouldn't have brought this lad down with 2 or 3 police vans. When Lewis loses it, it's a major incident, or it was.
Well,
no longer.
Well, the last time. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go on.
The last time I was arrested, it took 16 police officers, and I put 2 of them in hospital.
He's a big lad. He knows what he's doing. He's a big lad, and he knows what he's doing. So it's for everyone's benefit. Lewis is now an active member of his community. He helps people. He goes out and assists people. He's not causing a problem. He's not getting aggressive. He's not getting wound up. He was put today, and whether he's hearing it or not yet, we're hearing it. I'm hearing it. I know the listeners are hearing it. He was put in one of the most stressful positions you could be in, and he didn't get angry. He didn't get mad. Look, this is an extreme, this, Lewis. An extreme. You've gone by your own admission from being psychotic, angry, and dangerous to being compassionate. And even even having compassion for those people that are actually assaulting you. You've realised violence is not the answer.
Violence begets violence, if you want to look in your Bible or your Quran or whatever you want to call that piece of paper people follow. But hey, that's another issue. I don't know which to go down that path today.
Hey, but it's still true, man. It don't mean that you can't, even in that nonsense books, like you say, bits of paper, it don't mean there aren't words of truth in it. That's quite right.
Exactly.
A lot of misconceptions. There's a lot of people out there saying they're living as good Christians and as good Muslims, but that's not the truth. And I know.
Oh, we know that.
Yeah, those people hiding behind the governments, hiding behind God, hiding behind the crown, hiding behind all that, they send those poor unfortunate police officers who actually break their own oath in their actions. You know, they're the ones breaking their oath. They've sworn a vow. Now look, many of you people out might not know how important that is in your life, but when you start vowing stuff, you're vowing stuff, and they've vowed to uphold the law. And they are not doing. I don't think we need to be accountable.
Paul, I'm very sorry. My missus is now, after doing her vacuuming, she's an addict to vacuuming, so I'm going to put you on mute. Can you hear the vacuum?
No, that's good, man, that's good.
Right, okay then. As soon as you can hear it, tell me and I'll put her on mute.
Wonderful.
Listen, if she doesn't vacuum 10, 15 times a day, there's something wrong. She's poorly.
So, yeah, normal everyday people trying to live a normal day life. Yeah, I don't want anyone out there to think that this is about us supporting criminal activity. And by criminal activity, I mean anyone that causes loss, harm, deception or breach of the peace. On whatever level.
I've not caused none of them.
No, I weren't talking to you, man. I was talking to the listeners.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just thinking, if you have, I'm sorry, Paul. I'm just trying to be helpful.
No, it's right. It's right. I you know, like I say, I don't want people to think that Dark City Radio is supporting criminal activity.
I wouldn't be on here if I thought you thought you was.
Well, thanks, man. That's cool. So yeah, but the point I'm trying to get.
I think the Dale Creegans of the world need severely talking to personally.
Well, I talk to them for a period of time if they want to come here. I've actually already offered all the world leaders, local authority, and anybody in a position of authority that has actually been using tyranny to persuade, to murder and kill, and to get others to murder and kill. I've offered them an unconditional surrender. I actually still stand. I'm perhaps one of the only men still on earth that will offer them an unconditional surrender without retribution.
How do you mean by that, mate?
I am actually offering them a chance to stop and join. I don't.
Well, they're not going to stop and join because it makes.
Well, I don't think.
It's like Pravin said. It's about the money.
Well, everyone's entitled to their opinion. In my opinion, I do not think.
Well, actually, it's not. It's not just about money. It can't be, because they can print money anytime they like. Actually, it's about power. It's all about power, and they have the power. They have a big spell over you, and they have a big spell over everyone. And everyone thinks that the version of reality that they're putting forth is real, has some validity, but actually it has none, no more than anyone else's say so.
Well, my opinion here, if I can get it out, is one which is, for me, very simplistic. You cannot create unity in division.
Well, they like to divide people.
Exactly. So if I am going to let's say counteract that, then I must create unity. And whatever they do, however they strike, they struck at you today, man, and you're welcome to the Dark City family, you see. Because, I tell you, man, we are a family. That's how I see it. And when one of my family's hurt, I'm hurting. Hurting. So,
I'm a bit upset.
Well, of course, man. You've gone through it. I'm really proud, mate. You made me really proud, man. You have today. I am, because this could have gone completely differently. This could have gone, and I mean, not so long ago, it would have gone completely differently.
Not so long ago, they're dragging me down the street.
On the back, Lewis. You've got to pat yourself on the back, Lewis. You really have. You've gone from being one of them mindless, murdering troops to being a loving, caring, tendering man. That gives you all the qualifications you need for the Dark City. Anyone who can accept they've made a mistake and move along immediately qualifies for my family.
But I get when I go to court, I will be punished for my past misdemeanors. They were actually, the police were going to caution me, and they said, "Oh, look, you'll only get a caution. It's nothing. You'll only get a caution." But because the last time I was arrested in 1996, because of that, I've got to go appear in court again.
Yeah, well, they're trying to make you an offer, so you contract with them, you see, and they will say things like this. They will lie, they will cheat, they will deceive you, you see. And this should be your acknowledgement that you're not dealing with a constable. You're dealing with an officer. You're dealing with an officer, and that officer is only interested in money. There is no other interest for the officer. It's illegal taxes.
They're not allowed to do that because of what they're doing anyway. They're already cutting the police services. They're already turning their own.
95% of people who think they're in authority are insane.
Well, they don't see it. They are actually, what do you call it? Cutting the police services. They're cutting everything. They're cutting on the military. Yet they want to have them fighting wars, so they're turning on their own.
Militarisation of the police force, you're quite right, and then the empowerment of local private security companies. You're quite right. It's Orson Welles, isn't it?
If you've talked to some people, they actually believe the new tram lines they're building in Leicester. It's so when they crush the revolution, they can actually use the people and move their armies around easier.
Oh, well, that's what the motorways. That's what motorways were originally constructed for.
Yeah, that's what Adolf Hitler did it for, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, that's what I say. When you actually see that, it's like, wow. The thing is, man, I don't think. I mean, Prajna's big on the awakening stuff and and techniques and stuff like that. He's done a lot of that. But I don't think you can truly be enlightened to yourself and what we're doing here until you can see the truth. And to see that, you can't get angry. Because it will trigger you. It will trigger anger. It will make you upset. It will get you emotional. That's part of it. It's learning to know those emotions, accept those emotions. And above all else, get creative.
I can vouch for sure you will see the man getting angry on the 12th.
Good on you, man. That's it. You said, whatever happens, I'm not going to get angry. I
won't get angry, but the man will get angry with me because I will be frequently asking him the same question. What law have I broke? I will be repeating that question all the way to my prison cell if I have to go to prison. Sorry, Matthews, come on, you can hear it.
Well, I think there's a great deal more that you could say, actually.
How do you mean, Pravin?
I think. Well, the first thing is to understand the full scope and history of cannabis. In fact, you can get that easily. If you want a really quick rundown, that Howard Marks video that I was talking about.
He was just watched a film about him. He was a Welshman, wasn't he?
Right. Yeah, and then on the net there are quite a few other. There's a very good book called The Emperor Wears No Clothes.
Yeah.
That tells the whole thing of cannabis and I'm
glad you said a book and not YouTube. Being computer illiterate, I'm glad there's still things such as books out there.
Well, you can get it as
people
a book.
Should be using.
You can buy it as a book. I'm sure you can get hold of it.
Can I just respond to the text in our chat room? And that's coming. Personal text, if you can't see it there in the room, that's why. They're saying about the number of plants that you can actually and can't have, and that they would prosecute you under. So for Craig in the room and for anybody else, that was 100 plants under the Crime Prosecution Services. Anything... I was actually advocating for no more than 30 plants some time ago. I was quite astounded. Anything over 100 plants here in the UK, they would have done you for as it being commercial. Straight away, you were doing it for profit. Otherwise, it became what they classed as an uneconomical prosecution.
Yes.
It cost them more to actually prosecute than it was worth. All about money again. However, recently that's been took by the Crime Prosecution Services to 4 plants. And that was actually September 2011, I think. I was questioned over the cultivation of 96 plants back in March of last year. I had no comment. I wouldn't contract with them at all, as I wasn't even in the country when the property was raided. And it was just a catalogue of events. I was a disaster. Excuse me. Just one literally ridiculous thing after another ridiculous thing. They threatened me. They threatened my family. I asked them. They wanted to speak to me. I asked them repeatedly about what. They wouldn't tell me what about. And I was abroad. They threatened to revoke my passport, have me arrested. They threatened to arrest me if I came in, if I didn't come in. And eventually, when I handed myself into the police station, they held me in a cell, knowing my condition, my medical condition, for 7 hours approximately. No food, no water. I mean, I'm not complaining here. I'm just giving the facts. Nothing at all. Locked me in a box for that period of time. And not just forgot about me, literally. I did buzz on 3 occasions for attention. One of them was to find out what time it was. I was just curious of how long I'd been there. I don't know how long actually passed before somebody did answer it and tell me it was 4:15 in the afternoon, and that was it.
Oh, do you know you may have a claim for what's called
14 days after. I was rung by the police. They would be taking no further action, no charges, nothing at all. Pish.
So isn't that a hypocritical of them then?
Well, yes. I mean, I'm just not sure yet which process I now need to go through for the criminal.
Can I ask you a question? Did you have drugs on your record previously?
Well, I have been in trouble when I was a young lad, but under the Rehabilitation of Offenders Act, I've got no criminal record. I've had no criminal activity for over 20 years, way over 20 years.
Well, he informed me all my past crimes were spent. That's what the police officer said. Don't worry, all your past crimes are spent. You just get a caution on this.
Go on,
Let me just read out something that I found in yesterday's Evening Standard. It's by a guy called Mark Bentham, and it says suspects could be let off criminal charges if a case is too complex or expensive, the country's top prosecutor announced today. Keir Starmer QC, the Director of Public Prosecutions, said that in cases involving multiple suspects, prosecution might be reserved for the main participants because charging all those involved might lead to excessively long and complex proceedings. He also says in a new code of conduct for prosecutors that suspects could escape charges if the cost of court action will be excessive when measured against the likely penalty.
I did actually suspect Prajna earlier, where we were speaking to Lewis, that it might not get to court, as actually brought up by AKA, commonly known as, I've got to get that right, commonly known as Craig in the chat, actually bringing up the same point, and it was there. So it sounds like they've reworded that recently, Prajna. Brilliant bit of research, man. Well done.
But the sad thing is that you read on a little bit, you find that they're talking about mostly violent crimes. And you know, I think this is a big thing so that they can throw out most of these paedophiles that are all being turned up by the Savile scandal, saying that it'd be far too expensive and complicated and all that kind of thing to do it. So we'll get rid of all of those. But anyone growing a little bit of cannabis, no, that's...
right. Well, they've done it. There's a massive link there. We haven't really got time to cover that. We've only got about 8 minutes left on the show. But yeah, that's something we should bring up again, and we will do, and I will do. another one of these regarding the Misuse of Drugs Act, because there's a lot I wanted to point out, and I'm not complaining. It's good to get.
Can I reassure Pravin? It's going to cost them a couple of £100,000 to get my conviction, because I will be asking all the way through what laws are broke.
£17,000 a day for a Crown Court appearance.
Well, that's what it'll be costing them, because it will be going, what law have I broke? Even if I got to go all the way on remand for it.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
Listen, I would ask you, right, and I'm sure all the viewers and listeners would agree, don't go taking, you've took a bullet for all of us now, but don't go putting your head on the block, man. Don't go.
It's already on the block, mate.
Nah, see what I mean. Don't go putting yourself. Don't go doing it. You know what I mean. At the end of the day, right? It's better for you to be around your family, and for your family to be around you. Yeah, but that's not. Listen, there's no argument here, man. There is no argument here. Your family needs you like you need your family, and you being put away, right, will punish your family, not you.
Well, every time I've appeared in for the court before the man, I've been put away, so I've got no fear of going to prison.
Look, you were once an aggressive, violent man. You're not now. You're not an aggressive, violent man.
I accept what you're saying, but I'm in a situation now, Paul, where I have to stand up and fight for the right to do this.
Oh yes, I'm not saying you do that. No, I am not saying. I'm not saying you shouldn't stand out. I'm not. No, I'm not. All I'm saying is, you've already took a bullet, and we thank you for that. We don't thank you for that, because you are willing to stand up. You haven't gone in there, I'll have a caution and blah, blah, blah. No, you haven't. You've said, no, I haven't done anything wrong. I haven't.
Yeah. Standing for truth.
Is another one standing for truth. Well, there you go, Brad.
Well, that's what I'll be asking the courts, what have I done wrong, and I will be asking the police to produce a victim of the crime they haven't committed.
Well, you're the victim.
Yeah, well, how can I produce myself? How can they produce me as a victim? I don't see myself as a victim.
It's a beautiful angle you've come up with. I did say earlier on, whatever you do, be creative. You might have come up with something wonderful there, mate. You really might have, live here on radio. Well, I'll produce myself as the victim. How can I produce myself as the victim? By becoming the complainant.
Especially as when we look into law, we find that actually you don't own yourself. It's a bit complicated, but one of these days.
How can I not own myself? They say excuse me, Pravin. They say I'm capable of my own actions, so how can I not own myself?
Well, you're exempt from the Mental Health Act. You're already exempt. He's already exempt from any responsibility of the fictitious character which is portrayed in the name, Prague. It's all right, Lewis, if you think we've just started speaking another language. It's because we did. It's called legalese, and they're speaking a different language. And as far as we're concerned, we've cracked their language, and our language now incorporates theirs, but they can't incorporate ours, because there is no us and them. So I've learned a hell of a lot through the situations the so-called they have put me in.
I will be asking someday anyway, how can I plead guilty or not guilty to something I've not done?
How can you actually take the oath? I mean, within the oath, and Prizner pointed this out, I don't know how he's going to do this. I promise to tell the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth. How can you do that? Do you know the whole truth? Do you know the whole truth?
Really, no.
Nobody does. Nobody. They're actually getting you to commit perjury by actually swearing not to. The whole
So my solicitor was trying to say, probably what they mean by that is the whole truth that you know. And I said to him, listen, that's not what it says. I'm not going to swear to something that's ambiguous. Yeah. In fact, I'm not going to swear to anything at all. But
well, that's what I'll be doing. So, the man will not be liking it. I will most probably end up in prison on the 12th for me stance in the court.
Well, with a little bit of luck, there'll be plenty of people.
Hopefully no jail but bail.
Well, look, I mean, like I say, I've heard a few things. Uneconomical prosecution. You see, we've even got that coming for some pretty informed people in the Anon chat. I mean, this chat room's there for people who use the brains. That's what it's there for. There's many of them, and they're coming up with it. And yeah, I can say, man, you'll be lucky if you get to court. I don't think they want you in court. I mean, if I was stood on their side, so-called their side, excuse me, I'm speaking in division again, and I truly know that there isn't any. When, I'm putting myself in their position, I wouldn't want you in the court. I wouldn't want you. How would I get 12 men and women true sat on that jury to convict you? Where would I find them?
They're going to have to find them somewhere.
Another quick thing to drop in, and that is if they're trying intent to spy and so on, say, okay, just go through my accounts and show where I've made any money out of anything.
Yeah, they haven't done prides, no, even the police. Even the police know what he's doing. Obviously, Lewis was quite well known to the police. His criminal record is his evidence that cannabis has actually helped him.
Sure.
His criminal record, it's like, wow, that's amazing. Just take your criminal record. That's before I used it. That's when I use, a great big file on one side. That's before cannabis, and this piece of paper here is after cannabis.
After.
After cannabis, it's all about cannabis.
How is a jury going to convict? Oh, let's put him back where he was, where he would get a criminal record, where he'd get upset, where he'd get violent, where he'd turn on the people he cared about the most. I did not a jury. There's not a jury of. I do not believe you would be able to find a jury what would convict. You wouldn't. You might be able to get a few magistrates who'll go, oh, he's been a very naughty boy, you're going to prison. Yeah, you might do, but you would not get 12 men and women of this land to convict this man. You wouldn't. I don't see how you can do it. Colin Davis versus Stockport Crown Court. Medical use. That was the president. That actually became medical necessity. That president's done. Why have they took on this stupid, ridiculous situation? 4 plants, 2 years imprisonment? Ridiculous. How does that serve this nation? How does it serve?
Well, it doesn't really.
That's the end of the show, folks. Thanks for joining us. Dark City Shows. Remember, this is your time. This is your radio. Together, we can make a difference.